Our first call after the breakup. I didn't expect the phone to ring tonight. Not after all the silence, the paused messages, the ghosted months that turned to seasons and changed my skin with the absence of your voice. But it did ring, a sound so familiar, so sacred. It sliced the silence like a whisper. At a funeral, I hesitated. My thumb hovered above the green icon, like a heartbeat, refusing to move forward. But I answered, of course I did, because ghosts always know which door to knock on when the past gets too heavy. Hey, you said, like we were back in spring, before the flowers knew what it was to wilt. Hey, I replied, and the word felt like ashes in my mouth. There was a pause, the kind that's filled with all the words we never said, all the fights we didn't finish, all the apologies left unread. I asked you how you were. You said you were doing okay. I could hear the tremble in your throat, like you were walking on the edge of something you couldn't name. And I didn't press. I never pressed. That was always the problem. You asked if I still lived in the same apartment, the one with the crooked windows and the leaky faucet that we swore we'd fix, but never did. Yes, I said, I still do, and the leak still sings like a broken lullaby. Some nights when I can't sleep, you laughed, a small sound, almost shy, like you remembered what it was to share silence with someone else without it becoming awkward. I closed my eyes, listened to the rise and fall of your voice. You spoke about your job, your new city, the way the skyline looks when the sun sets at 7:43 sharp each evening. I pictured you standing by some unfamiliar window, holding your phone like it was something fragile, like it held my heartbeat in its circuits. You didn't mention her, and I didn't ask, because love is a war, and pride is the only weapon that doesn't rust. You said you missed me, just once, like a secret slipping through a crack in your resolve. And I wanted to tell you about the nights I still reach for your name in the dark, the way your laughter still echoes in my kitchen, how I've tried to scrub your fingerprints from my spine, but they just turned into permanent tattoos. But I didn't. I nodded, as if you could hear the ache behind the silence. You said you saw a movie we once watched together, the one with the two lovers on the bridge in Paris, swearing to meet again in a year if they still felt the same. You remembered how I cried at the ending. I remembered how you didn't. I asked if you were happy. You said yes, then paused, then added, most days. And we both let the truth sit between us like an old sweater that no longer fits but still smells like home. We talked about things that didn't matter, the weather, the books we pretended to read, the recipes we failed to master, your dog, my cactus, neutral things, safe things, but everything felt like a metaphor. The rain on your side was my storm, your burnt toast was my missed chance, your tired voice was my own exhaustion from carrying the weight of what we used to be. You asked me if I still write. I lied, said no, because I didn't want you to know. You're still every poem, every metaphor, every stanza that bleeds through my hands. At 2 a.m., you said you were proud of me. I wanted to laugh, but the lump in my throat had its own heartbeat. So I thanked you, because that's what you do. When the person who shattered you offers a compliment, like a bandage that no longer sticks. The call started to fade. The signal crackled, a foreshadowing of how all things end. Not with a bang, but with a distortion. You asked if I was seeing anyone. I said no, and for once it wasn't a lie. Because how do you date when your heart still lives in someone else's voice. I wanted to tell you about the way I still walk past that bakery on 5th, even though I hate the coffee. About the time I saw your favorite scarf on a stranger and had to sit down. But instead, I said, I'm okay. Because I've learned that heartbreak doesn't end with closure. It ends with acceptance, or at least the ability to pretend. You said you should go. I agreed, even though I wanted the call to stretch forever. Because hearing your voice was like a band-aid on a wound that never really healed, just learned to ache quieter. We said goodbye. Yours was soft, mine was brave, but both were full of unwritten letters and unwritten endings. After the line went dead, I sat there, phone still warm in my palm, like it had held your hand for just a moment, and I let the tears come. Not because I missed you, but because I still do. I wondered if you cried too, if you hung up and felt the same echo ring through your ribs. I wondered if your new life tastes like coffee without sugar, if your new smile still carries the shadow of the one you wore with me. I didn't text, didn't call back, because that's the thing about first calls after breakups. They're never really about what's said. They're about what we dare not say. And so, I curled into the quiet you left behind, a quiet I'd known, but never loved. And I wrote this, because maybe, if I bleed the words out, I won't dream of you tonight, but I probably will. And when I do, you'll be standing in the hallway again, wearing that faded gray t-shirt you always slept in, the one with the hole near the hem that you refused to throw out. You'll smile, that sleepy smile, rubbing your eyes like the world is just too bright, and you'll ask if I made coffee. I always did, even when I stopped drinking it. In the dream, you'll sit beside me on the old couch, legs pulled up, knees like parentheses around your chest, as if you're bracing for the weight of what you can't say. But this time, you'll say it. You'll tell me you were scared, not of love, but of what it asked of you, the parts you buried, the truths you swallowed, the boy inside you still learning how to be soft without breaking. And I'll listen, because in dreams, I'm always better at forgiving than I am in real life. You'll reach for my hand like it's still yours to hold, and I won't pull away. Not yet, because in dreams, I forget that we fell apart, or maybe I just pretend we didn't. You'll ask me if I still keep the books you marked, the one where you underlined every line about love, like it was a language you were trying to translate. I'll tell you yes, and I'll lie again. Say I've read them all, but the truth is, I stopped halfway through, afraid I'd find pieces of you in the margins and forget how to breathe. You'll laugh, that breathy half-sigh laugh that always meant you didn't have the words, but needed to say something anyway. I loved that laugh, still do. In the dream, we won't mention the night we ended. No one ever wants to relive the last page of a favorite book. Instead, we'll speak in metaphors. You'll point at the rain and say it's healing. I'll nod, even though I know it's just water falling without permission. You'll lean into me, and I'll let you, because it's easier than asking why you stayed away so long. You'll ask if I remember that night on the roof when the city lights made us feel infinite, and we swore we'd never lose this. Of course I do. I remember how your voice cracked when you said it, how my heart cracked when I believed it. We were gods back then, in the universe we built from takeout boxes and stolen kisses. Immortal in the way only the young and in love can be, but gods fall too, even the soft ones. you'll say my name. Like a prayer you forgot how to finish, and I'll say yours. Like I never stopped whispering it into the dark